Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here on WYAB. Hey, guys, it's Friday night or it's Friday morning. We'd like to tell you about all the things you can do this weekend when we read our sponsor reads on Fridays. And tonight, Madison County folks, how about you guys get out to Parlor 1886 right here in downtown Flora. It's Flora's living room. It's more than a bar. It's more than a restaurant. It's more than just a hangout. It's Flora's living room. It's super cool in there. It's right on Main Street. Main Street's only about a half block long. You can't miss it. It's right next to one of the best little pizza places out here in the county, Railroad Pizza. You've all heard of Railroad Pizza. It's right next door. Well, there may be a business in between it. I think there's a salon in between. That's neither here nor there. Get over there. Check out Parlor 1886 tonight. I'm sure they'll have some live entertainment, karaoke, something like that going on. They got a ton of flat screen TVs. They got skeet ball. They're adding some old school pinball machines and a barcade in the back. It may already be up and running. I'm not 100% sure, but you will enjoy it. They got bar. Of course, you can sit at the bar. You can sit at the tables. Or if you're lucky enough to get there in time, sit at the VIP couch areas. And it's just like being in your living room, just hanging out with your friends, enjoying a cold drink. They got liquor, they got beer, they got all your favorite bar food type snacks or dinners, however you want. Entrees is the word I'm looking for. Entrees. Get over there, check it out. Check them out on Facebook. Get a sneak peek of what it looks like. I'm telling you, you will be blown away when you get out there. Parlor 1886. John Poor is the manager. Jason Dean is the owner. Good local folks investing into the community. That's what I'm all about. All right. Got Fred Shanks, got Shaun Yurtkuran in the studio today. Guys, I was eavesdropping on y'all's conversation. Mm-hmm. And I just figured, let's jump down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
Shad White wrote a book. Mississippi Swindle.
Yeah.
Now, obviously none of us have read the book.
No,
I don't believe it's come out yet, right?
No, I think it did.
Is it been?
If it was just released.
Yeah, I saw you could pre-order it. I did see a stack of books in its photo, so it's just now available. Man, without diving into the book because none of us have read it, so I don't want to do a book review here. But I'm just the idea of him writing a book, and if anybody don't want to answer this, that's fine. I just why are we writing a book that the story is unfinished? And if here's my deal, if Bret Favre was guilty,
it's August 6th, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt. That's when it comes.
August 6th.
Yeah, it's pull up.
If Bret Favre was guilty, just go arrest his ass. I mean, you ain't got no problem going and arresting Peggy Sue at the Water Valley, and I'm just using Water Valley as a catch-all. Peggy Sue, if you work at Water Valley, I'm not really talking about you. Peggy Sue at the Water Valley Water District.
Yeah.
For $40 that she slid into her pocket, which, fine, stealing. Handcuff them. Mm-hmm. Nobody's above the law. I mean, handcuffing and perp walking, people that are stealing $40, $50, which that's the law. It is what it is. Nobody's above it. We keep being told.
Yeah.
Instead of Twitter battling with Bret, go arrest him if he's guilty. And I'm saying this as I like Bret Favre, but I don't have a dog in this race. Yeah. This never offended my sensibilities. We don't have to get into the nuts and bolts of it. The money Bret got, the whole thing was approved by the Attorney General's office.
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
What else is Bret supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. And then he gave back the money apparently for things he didn't do.
Yeah.
So, but I guess Shad wanted the interest. Is that correct?
Yeah. He charges interest in investigative cost, and I believe that's what he's arguing, that Bret has not paid that. But you're right, Bret did pay the principal back.
Yeah. And so the Miss got a volleyball court.
They did.
Yeah, and it was, again, you said approved by the AG's office, which is Adam Ganichow's mother was the one, the editor of the Mississippi Day, the one who actually approved it.
Yeah, so. and they've had no problem writing about this. But that seems quite hypocritical.
Leaving this out, this part, they may have written it in there, maybe one article. It didn't seem like it's very prominent in their article or reporting of it, about that fact of it. I saw Alan Lang did, back when he had Y'all Politics, and reported about it. I remember that. Yeah. But that's the only place I remember seeing. That's how I think I found out that it was Ganichow's mom on there. So.
Well, again, this whole Tamp thing has been, it's a nothing pie to me. I mean, they broke the law. They went to jail.
Yeah.
Why is it still a political hot button? Why are we trying to get Phil Bryant arrested? I think Phil just had I think Phil was starstruck with Bret. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think Bret just assumed that Phil, being the governor, was above board. And I'm not saying he wasn't. Yeah. You know, I understand if you want to find something wrong with it, you can look at it and say, oh man, you know, these guys should have known. Da, 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 da. Yeah. But that's where Hood's office came in.
Well, you know what's interesting too about this, Clay? Like the way the TANF money, that all was changed in the 90s when we did all that welfare reform, mm-hmm. and the states are giving these block grants. And so actually, Vox, who read a lot, did a really good article about this about 2 years ago, explaining that okay, we get that Mississippi has done these things, right? But look at all these other states, and they were using like California, Oklahoma, like all the money that they'd used TANF for. Like, so we just kind of got caught, is what happened here, you know. And of course, I'm not saying some of it was really bad, but there are people I think that are involved in it that were not guilty. Like Paul Acosta, I always use that example. Like I don't think he really did anything, but now he's got a bad rap because his name was involved in this.
Yeah, because he did what anybody else would have done. Yeah, you know, and all these blue-haired liberals whose hair is on fire on Twitter, throwing Paul Lacoste's name under the bus and this, that, and the other. I want that same energy when all this Jackson stuff comes out.
Yeah, and I think you're already. I'm glad you brought. I think I'm using Twitter as an example. You're seeing some wagons being circled on the potential, fallout from this mayor DA scandal. Mm-hmm. From that side, I've noticed that myself. I'm just, and I think because they're bracing for how. Because this is going to make TANF look really stupid. I'm sorry. I know there was a lot of money stolen here. They're used wrongly or whatever, but we're talking about actual political corruption of the worst kind. Yeah. You know what I mean? And involving all sectors of government. So I think it may be one of the bigger scandals in the nation when this all unfolds. I think it's going to be pretty interesting. We always think of the backroom deals with Mississippi Good Old Boys, which I'm sure has happened over the decades. We all know different stories here and there, but this is going to be like forefront to all of us to actually see this in real time.
And it's legitimate backroom deals allegedly at a cigar shop.
Yeah.
That's a back room. Yeah. There's a back room that you have to have special access to get to.
Yeah. Correct. I mean, supposedly pictures floating around.
Yeah. I mean, so there's going to be a lot of interesting things. But circling back to Shad, I just think the optics on it are bad for him. Because if you go look at now, Russ Latino I always like to credit Russ with this. Russ says if you only looked at Twitter, you would think Mississippi was a blue state.
Yeah.
But man,
that's a good observation.
It really is. So if you go every time Shad makes a post about this book, now in fairness, I have not looked at his other social media channels to see if the comments are any more favorable. But on Twitter, you have the left and the right spitting venom at Shad about this. The left, why hadn't you arrested Phil? Why hadn't you arrested Phil? Phil. Your boy Phil. Mm-hmm. But they also like that he went after Bret Favre because I guess Bret's just a symbolism of a good old boy, and they don't like that. Mm-hmm. Bret's got testosterone. He's a leader. He's a self-made millionaire. That's all things the left hates. A man's man. He's straight. He don't celebrate Pride Month. None of that stuff, He didn't march for BLM. He didn't do anything. So he's got to go. The good old boys like Bret, so they have to attack and tear down Bret. And I firmly believe that that's what the attack on Bret Favre is about more than anything. It's what Bret Favre symbolizes. And then you have the right who's mad at him for going after Bret Favre and just not letting it go. Mm-hmm. When it's either arrest him or let it go. I don't see how he comes out of this. And somebody said he sold the movie rights to it, allegedly. I mean, if that's the case, he needs to step down as auditor right now.
Yeah, I think
because he's just using the position to monetize it.
Right. I mean, I said that for last week. I think the book is a bad look. Just because from the purpose of an ongoing investigation, which this still is, as we all know, it's not over. I mean, I think the feds are still working on it. And it's ongoing. When the investigation is over, you want to write a book. That's one thing. I think it's okay, and everything's closed out. But I think the thing with Shad White is, and I said a little bit of this last week, I think he does a good job generally. He's aggressive on the stuff he does. But the problem is it's the self-promotion that bothers everybody. Nobody really likes that. I think, especially in Mississippi, we're all kind of I think Mississippians as people really don't enjoy that when people self-promote too much,
It's the one thing that I hear people gripe about with Andy Gibson.
Yeah.
It's like him making himself the face of the fair and the rodeo, which it doesn't bother me. I am a self-promotion guy, so I respect the hustle. I truly do. And if you gave me the purse strings to make myself the face of the state fair,
yeah,
I would too.
You don't say like
the
T-shirts
circus.
and flags. You like self-promotion. Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So I'm a capitalist, and self-promotion is a part of that capitalism tree. So, but my problem with Shad is the book while he's still in office, and frankly, it's just the fact that it's not finished, and it just seems so self-serving. It's just a lot of parts here that I don't like, and I'm with you. I do think Shad does an aggressive job with what he does. And I love his stance on DEI and getting all that out of the schools.
And he's funny on Twitter, actually. If you follow him, he's actually pretty funny. Sometimes the stuff he says, I think is hilarious.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, but I can look at things, I can compartmentalize, and I'm compartmentalizing this, and I think it's a terrible look. And he got some really bad advice from somebody.
I agree. I think someone gave him some really bad political advice that this was a good idea. It seems like you said, like, across the aisle, everybody's like, why did you do this, man? Like, this is not. I mean, can anybody remember anybody that's a current politician that was writing a book while in office? Now, I know some people write them prior to running for president. That's a very common thing to do. Everybody's got, Tim Scott's got
It's a payoff.
Yeah, it's the book before you run for president. It seems like a standard staple. But while you're in office and releasing a book, especially about something that's not, I mean, maybe it's different if it's like your time as governor or your whatever, but you're talking about an ongoing criminal investigation, and that's, I think, the problem with it.
Yep. Let's take a break. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Guns and Gear text line as you kind of wind down the hour here. Let's see. The name of the Shad White book was Mississippi Swindle. What was the catch?
Bret Favre and the welfare scandal that shocked America. And on the Amazon, blurb, it says how America's youngest state auditor uncovered the largest public corruption scandal in the history of the nation's poorest state. A must-read with all the thrills of a John Grisham novel for fans of shocking true crime exposés like Black Edge and Bad Blood. So.
Let's see here. Chad says Shad White's morals keep him from stealing from the state, but his ethics won't prevent him from capitalizing on information gained from his position. That's a very valid point there. And look, I mean, I don't want to come across like I'm just hating on Shad, because I think he's done a lot of good. I think he has potential to be a very bright star in the future. And like I said, I love his attack on DEI and the fact that we're funding that nonsense at our state universities. I really appreciate that. And I can tolerate some of this other stuff because of that, because at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with somebody 100% of the time. Right. I just think this is a terrible look. And like, who I've yet to find a person that thought this book was a good idea other than Shad White.
Chad White and one of his advisors, right? That's
that's the problem when you keep too many yes people around you.
That's 100% right. That's working in government for a long time. That's something we've said for years.
Yep.
Is when like my old boss Robert Smith had a lot of yes people around him. Yep. And that causes a lot of problems.
I mean, it's one of the reasons Shaun and I have become such good friends. Same with Fred, is you need people who will tell you the dang truth. Yeah. Like, hey, Clay, that's a terrible idea. Shaun, that's a bad idea. All right, we got to take our break. We got Fred Shanks in here for the whole 2 hours. We're going to get into some other stuff going on down at the Capitol. We'll be right back in 7 minutes.